Hey guys, let's get more news from Steelers, but first don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. Mike Tomlin blasts the Steelers for playing JV football in sloppy loss. The Pittsburgh Steelers found themselves in a storm of disappointment on Sunday, both in terms of weather and performance, as they succumbed to a 24-10 defeat against the Arizona Cardinals. The game, marred by heavy rains and lightning that led to 2 delays, mirrored the Steelers' lackluster showing. Steelers coach Mike Tomlin, however, refused to let external factors serve as a shield for his team's subpar display. In a candid post-game assessment, Tomlin didn't mince words, characterizing the Steelers' performance as akin to JV football against the Cardinals. Addressing reporters, Tomlin dissected the myriad mistakes that plagued the Steelers during the 14-point defeat, taking full responsibility for the lackluster outing. "That was a horrible day at the office. We didn't do much right in that game, to be quite honest with you," Tomlin declared. "We have to own that, obviously, starting first and foremost with me. Just losing football. It really was." The laundry list of errors included a high number of penalties, both pre-snap and operational, coupled with issues like bad snaps that Tomlin characterized as reflective of JV football in a lot of ways. Despite outgaining the Cardinals, a departure from their usual form, the Steelers faltered in the efficiency statistics that had been their stronghold earlier in the season. The team managed to convert only 4 of 11 third-down attempts, scored touchdowns on just 1 of 3 red zone possessions, and incurred 9 penalties for 77 yards, holding a -1 turnover margin. In stark contrast, the Cardinals showcased superior efficiency, going 10-for-17 on third down, scoring on all 3 of their red zone possessions, and notably avoiding any turnovers. The victory marked Arizona's first on the road this season. As the Steelers weathered both literal and metaphorical storms, Tomlin's straightforward assessment underscores the need for accountability and improvement as they navigate the challenges ahead in the season. Jaylen Warren, "Steelers took Cardinals lighter than we should have." The Pittsburgh Steelers got embarrassed on their home field to the 2-10 Arizona Cardinals, losing 24-10 in a game where they looked completely outclassed. RB Jaylen Warren said that the Steelers may have taken the Cardinals too lightly ahead of their matchup. "Just taking them lightly, lighter than we should have," Warren said about the Cardinals, per Joe Rutter of TribLive on Twitter. Warren also said the Steelers let the highs get too high after a 421-yard output against the Cincinnati Bengals in Week 12. With a short week ahead of them, it was easy for the Steelers to overlook the 2-10 Cardinals. After 2 AFC North road matchups, the Steelers returned home to take on one of the NFL's worst teams. Well, the Steelers looked like one of the NFL's worst teams instead. Arizona was able to move the ball on them and not let Pittsburgh's offense do much of anything. A lot went wrong for the Steelers, and injuries didn't help. Losing LB Elandon Roberts early in the game hurt the team's defense, and then QB Kenny Pickett suffering an ankle injury affected the team's offense. But even before that, Arizona didn't make life easy for Pittsburgh, and the game ended up getting out of hand. In the NFL, every team is talented. There's a reason why guys are in the NFL, and it's because they're good football players, no matter what team they're on or the success of the team. You can't afford to take any opponent lightly, and despite numerous Steelers saying that wasn't the case, Warren admitted it might have been, and that can be a factor in the loss. Warren also said there could have been a problem in the team's preparation when it came to overlooking the Cardinals, per Brooke Pryor of ESPN. That falls on the coaching staff, with Mike Tomlin at the top of it. The Steelers are too talented to lose to 2-10 teams, and if Tomlin and the rest of the coaching staff contributed to the Steelers taking Arizona lightly, that's an issue. The Steelers looked good against the Cincinnati Bengals in Week 12, but they can't let that success get to their head and automatically think it's going to carry over. They weren't prepared today, and they fell flat against a Cardinals team that isn't good but better than their record indicates. That can't happen going forward, and certainly can't happen on Thursday against the 2-10 New England Patriots, who will come into Acrisure Stadium off a 6-0 loss to the Los Angeles Chargers. Hopefully, this can be a lesson for Pittsburgh to not take any team or game for granted, but if it is, it was a hard and unneeded lesson to learn. Kenny Pickett to undergo ankle surgery, Steelers QB not expected to be placed on IR. Pittsburgh won't have its starting quarterback for most of the stretch run, but the door is open for a return this season. Kenny Pickett is set for ankle surgery on Monday, but the Steelers are not expected to place the QB on injured reserve, NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport reported on Good Morning Football, per sources. Rappaport added that the surgery is described to him as a tightrope type that would typically be done on a high ankle sprain. Pickett will miss Thursday's home game against the New England Patriots and potentially longer. However, the Steelers are holding out hope for him to come back before the final game against the Baltimore Ravens in Week 18, per Rappaport. Pickett injured his ankle in the second half of the Sunday's loss to the Arizona Cardinals after a scramble up the middle for a 2-yard gain near the goal line. He was initially deemed questionable before being ruled out at halftime. Pickett played through shin and rib injuries at separate junctures earlier this season, but he won't be able to soldier through this one. It's a significant injury and a potentially significant blow to Pittsburgh's playoff aspirations. Mitchell Trubisky, who came on in relief of Pickett Sunday, is expected to get the start Thursday versus New England. Whether the Steelers can maintain their postseason hopes remains to be seen. At 7-5, they are the number 5 seed in the AFC, but it's a precarious position as they're one of 4 7-5 AFC squads, just ahead of 2 6-6 squads. Kenny Pickett, quarterback for the NFL's Pittsburgh Steelers, underwent a surgical procedure over the next few days because of a serious ankle injury. According to Ian Rappaport, journalist at NFL Network, the surgery is scheduled for next Monday, 11, although an anticipation cannot be ruled out due to the severity of the problem. The procedure is expected to rule Pickett out of the remainder of the season's games. Pickett's injury occurred during the Steelers' Week 13 NFL loss to the Arizona Cardinals, when Jonathan Ledbetter fell on the quarterback's left ankle midway through the second quarter. The immediate consequence was the player's absence from the field for the remainder of the match. Veteran backup Mitchell Trubisky was brought in to replace Pickett and had a significant performance, throwing for 117 yards and a touchdown in the team's loss. Pickett had already been dealing with discomfort in his right ankle since the previous week, following an incident in the game against the Cincinnati Bengals. After leaving the match against Arizona, he was seen on the sideline wearing a boot on his right ankle. See video of Pickett's injury below. And you fan, what do you think of the Kenny Pickett situation? Leave your opinion in the comments.